What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining me today in this video. So for today's video, we are talking about the newest rendition of Snow White, with the original coming out in 1937 and one of Disney's first movies. This movie had a little bit of speculation behind it because of Rachel Zegler and her interview prowess, I guess. Like, she just touch on that in another time. So because of her ethnicity, you know, Snow White is more traditionally like a white woman, like actually Caucasian woman, and Rachel Zegler is not. So there was the controversy behind that all, but overall, I will say, to start out this review, this movie was very different, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty decent. Like, I did enjoy, for the most part, the movie. I didn't enjoy it as much as the other people that I was with enjoyed it, but overall, it was a good film. Rachel Zegler plays Snow White, and we have Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, and then Andrew Burnett plays Jonathan. So in this film, technically he is supposed to be the prince, if you will, but they did a different little rendition of the original film for this 2025 remake. Again, it was different, but it was decent, so I will give it that. I do have quite a few gripes with the film, but we'll get into that a little later. So overall, the cinematography was pretty good. I think that the best part of the film were the 7 dwarves, which were actually majority CGI, and I think that that's pretty cool because it actually worked for the film. At first, it was a little off and a little wonky, but within 5-10 minutes, I kind of not forgot that they were CGI, but I got so used to it, and I just kind of fell in love with them because of how they were. They actually kind of saved the film, in my opinion. Not that the film needed saving, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the film was a disaster and whatever. I'm just saying that the dwarves were probably the best part of the film for me, personally.
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost.
Gal Gadot did a decent job as the evil queen.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, majesty.
I will say there was one song that she did that I thought was a little too over the top, way too cartoony, very animated, kind of for no reason, and there was like a little bit too much flair with what she was doing. But overall, she still did a good job. She's a great actress. I love Gal Gadot in majority of things that she's in. So she did a good job as the evil queen. Now the whole being the fairest of them all and being kind of jealous of Snow White, for the people that they had for the characters, I think it was kind of askew, but again, for the theme of the film, I think it works for the most part. There were several songs that I just kind of feel like, even though some of them were in the original, you know, it just kind of felt still out of place, and it just didn't really work for the film for me personally. They left out one of the songs in the film that she sings, I guess, to the animals, and they changed one of the songs as well. So there's quite a few things in it that are different and that kind of don't work for me personally. But if you want to take your kids to see this, I think it is a phenomenal film for kids to see. There's like no blood and gore, there's no true violence in it, and you know, like in the original, instead of the huntsman bringing back Snow White's heart, he brings back a pig's heart, and in this, it's very different. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it's very different and it's very dulled down. So I will say that if it's a good family film, very, very good for you to take your kids to and not worry that they're going to be scared or frightened or have nightmares or anything. The director, Mark Webb, did a decent job with this, I'll say. Like I said, overall, it is pretty decent. I think that people who are true fans of the original Snow White and just Disney in general, I don't know, they might really enjoy this, they might not. As I said, I didn't enjoy it as much as the other people that I was with enjoyed it, but it was still a somewhat enjoyable film. Like, would I go see it again? Maybe. If my girlfriend and her mom wanted to go, I would take them and I would go see it with them. But on my own, I probably wouldn't go pay to see it. Luckily, I had an early screening for this film, being in the Critics Association, so that was nice to see it early. But I wouldn't be rushing at the bits to go see this again. Despite how Rachel Zegler might be in interviews and how she might be as a person outside of cinema, I will give it to her. She did a pretty good job as Snow White. She did a very good job as Snow White.
Find Snow White.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
You were saying.
I was talking to a few friends before, and I was saying that I have to really separate how I feel about her personally in regards to her role, because people are different from their roles. Their roles are not them, and they are not their roles. I mean, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like, the people are iconic in those roles, but Robert Downey Jr. is not actually Iron Man. You know what I mean? So I have to take out my personal feelings towards her and how she is in interviews and with people and the snootiness and everything. And she did a great job, just like she did in West Side Story remake and just like she did in Hunger Games. And even though the Shazam sequel wasn't that great, she did a decent job in that too. She's a pretty good actress, so she did very well as Snow White. I love the chemistry between like Snow White and the dwarves. Even though they were mainly CGI, it still was pretty good. Like I said, the best parts of the film for me involved the dwarves, because it was just so funny. Anytime they were on the screen, it was pretty funny, and the moments were very nice. It kind of gave more into the whole magical aspect, since it's like a magical forest and the film surrounds itself with magic. It just worked with the CGI and how the dwarves looked and how they acted. It worked, and I really loved the dwarves in this film. Andrew Burnap did a pretty good job as Jonathan, or the, you know, alleged prince, if you will. In this, he is not a prince. There is no prince in this, really, and I will leave everything else to when people see this. But yeah, it was pretty different, and I like what they did, because in essence, in the original film, there wasn't much to the story. It was pretty bare bones, and you have a lot of songs, and then at the end you have the prince who kisses her, and then you have the whole issue that people were talking about, the non-consensual stuff, and it's like, guys, let's relax here. Let's relax. It literally says that true love's kiss is what brings her back. Like, calm down. It's not like he's taking full advantage of her and all this other. No, he's kissing her to wake her up. Relax. That's another thing that surrounded this film, that I guess there was controversy because of the whole non-consensual issue, blah, 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 whatever. For those who are fans of Disney and Snow White and all the original Disney movies, I would say definitely go see it. It's a good time. It's fun. Also, like I said, it's not the best to me. Like, it's not the best movie, but it's also not the worst movie. It's not even a terrible movie. It's just a pretty good movie. You know, it's pretty okay. Like, it was a fun time. And like I said, I would take my girl and her mom to go see it, but I wouldn't go back and see it on my own. Another thing is, there was just some things with the evil queen and the crowd that I don't know, like the whole village, it just was lacking some substance. The evil queen herself was lacking substance, and then even with the village, it seemed more like a crowd than a village, if you know what I mean by that. And then there were just some things with interactions involving the queen with her magic and everything that I was just kind of like, we could have done a little bit more with this. I don't need bam, pow, kazoom. I don't need any of that. It's just like, logically, like, come on. Like, there could have been some things that we could have done very differently here, or just expanded on a little bit, especially with character arcs and their growth, development, and all that good stuff. It just was lacking a little bit in that department. Again, not a terrible film. I encourage people to go see it, because it's decent for what it is. Thank you guys for joining me. It's much appreciated. You know the drill. Hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't to the channel. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until the next one.